Sentiments, I couldn't agree with you more. Great loss for the country, and an investigation is currently underway into that crash. But speaking of investigation, it's closely related to my next guest this morning, Leanne. The South African Police Service have celebrated and awarded service excellence for dedication and commitment. Well, the Ministry of Police and the National Commissioner of the SAPS have rewarded members of the SAPS and reservists, as well as members of the community policing forums who have excelled in performing their duties in the past year. The National Police Commissioner, General Riah Phiyega, initiated the SAPS National Excellence Awards during 2014, which is aimed at recognizing and rewarding those who performed optimally, in meeting their constitutional obligations towards the community and towards improving service delivery. So we're joined now by some of the winners, Constable Riah Phiyega, as well as Captain Madeleine van der Westhuizen. Welcome to you. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Morning.
I'm going to expose you a little bit off air. They said we'd much rather be fighting criminals on the street than sitting in studio. We're a little bit intimidated by this setting, but you need to enjoy it. We are celebrating you today for all your hard work and effort. Unfortunately, police officers are all painted with the same brush and are not given the reward that's due to them when they work hard and do their job. So today we're applauding you and say thank you so much for your work. Pressure. You received an award for Visible Policing Member of the Year. What does that entail? What did you have to do to receive that award?
Thank you. Thank you first for having me in your studio, and thank you for recognizing us. I will start briefly by explaining what visible policing entails. Visible policing is where we, as the members of the SAPS, we provide proactive and reactive service to the community. By proactive, this is where we get involved with the community before the crime occurs. We enlighten the community, we communicate, we educate the community about how do you curb the crime, how do you take care of yourself, how do you
make sure you don't participate.
Exactly. We participate. We also engage other partnerships, more largely with the community members. This is where we work with community members to help us to fight the crime. And then with reactive, this is after the crime has occurred. This is where we do our complaints, attending complaints to the community. This is where we do our patrols. This is after the crime has occurred. So I was given that award for basically exceeding and meeting the aims and objectives of the SAPS. Thank you.
We are feeling all the more safer knowing that you are on the watch 24/7 and making sure that you are preventing and also dealing with the aftermath of the crime. Madeleine, your work or your award was for Detective of the Year. Tell us a little bit about maybe one or two of the cases that you were working on, if you are at liberty to divulge.
Thank you very much. I can't say much about the cases, but what I can say is, in particular, this case was challenging because the victim is a child with a disability, suffering from cerebral palsy, and unable to speak, and also only have the use of her right wrist and hand. And it was very challenging. I could have never done it on my own. I was part of a excellent, dedicated team. The social worker, Bedien Venter, assisted me. She was the one reporting the case to the police. We came across the prosecutor, Advocate Ricky Krause, who really fights in court. And yes, we had professors from the University of Pretoria, Professor Juan and Kirsten, who assisted us with this victim to make means of talking to us or communicating to us. And yes, she will be part of my life forever. And it's a very challenging case, but also it gives hope to every victim out there. And it's a case of hope, not just to me, but also to my colleagues. And by being rewarded, I can only thank our commissioner. It's such a privilege and honor to be rewarded for work done. And yes, I do love my work, so it's quite rewarding.
And I think for any young woman at home today, it's quite an inspiration to see that there are some tough ladies out there fighting crime and holding down their own. How difficult is it, Constable, to be a woman in policing?
It's very difficult, believe me. It's very difficult because you have to get emotionally involved as well. Being careful not to, this is where you have to have certain characteristics. You have to be able to deal with the trauma, to be able to handle the pressures out there. So especially for a young woman like me, it's quite difficult. But with our National Commissioner, as we said, we get the support from our National Commissioner, from our Minister of Police, so they make sure that we are able to handle the stress and the trauma that comes with being a policewoman, especially as young as I am. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We have unfortunately run out of time. I wanted to have asked you whether or not you feel unfairly persecuted as police officers because of all the negative headlines in the news. You did manage to talk to me briefly about it off air, saying that, yeah, sometimes we do feel like it is a little bit unfair because as much as there are some blunders publicly, on the ground there's a lot of hard work that is being done and is not covered by the media. So it's a little bit imbalanced there. But we'll have to leave that discussion and that conversation for another day. Right now, quick ad break, more after this. Stay with us.